All right, we just lost Veronika after her finally showing back up after a couple of weeks. So There Will Be Banter has returned post-Thanksgiving edition, and we are joined finally, as she just went off camera to deadlift most likely, by the lovable gun-toting liberal Veronika Lopez. How are you, madam?
I'm excellent. How are you guys? By the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I know we were on a hiatus.
It is a celebration. We also have a new, I'm probably going to be a new permanent fixture as long as he deals with us. The Australian eye candy, as you can tell by his lovely flag behind him. Ben, how are you, sir?
Having a great night. It's
What? Did we lose Ben already?
No, I'm good. I think I'm just having some connectivity issues with Bluetooth. It's probably China again. After my earlier comments about them, they're probably just cutting into my feed.
And maybe but it's good to be back. A Bluetooth that can work more than 1 foot away from the screen.
That's
no
possible.
Veronika, for Christmas, get him that. Okay.
On it.
Okay. And then, of course, we have the wonderful, very average civilian reporter. I was about to say civilian employee, but she isn't. Civilian reporter Kristina Wong. How are you, ma'am?
I'm great. I've upgraded my the background from a calendar to a Christmas wreath.
Ooh, it's very festive.
Very festive.
Holiday cheer.
We have lights around the bottles that Maddie's done. And I was good to go in front of the tree. Clearly, again, something I had nothing to do with other than transporting, but I forgot. So here we are until next week. So now that everyone is back and everyone has survived the Thanksgiving quarantine and shelter in place or whatever it is, restrictions you had to deal with, that's what we're actually going to continue to talk about. So no, I don't know about your states, but here's what's going to go down in mine. Mr. Gavin Newsom today announced a new, quote, regional stay-at-home order. So he's broken down the state of California into 5 regions, right? So there's the Northern California, there's the Bay Area where I am, there's the greater Sacramento, the San Joaquin Valley, and then Southern California, where most of the people in California live, that region. About 23 million encompassing that region. So essentially, because it's going to happen according to him, when ICU capability or capacity falls below 15%, then a new shelter-in-place order will take place, banning everything outside of critical infrastructure and necessary travel for a minimum of 3 weeks. So what's going on in North Carolina? Because we're out, I don't know. It's supposed to be relying on science. We had a grand total of 100 new deaths in the month of November, from what I gather, 113. But that's where we're going with this. So, Kristina.
Yes.
Help.
What's going on in North Carolina? I have
no
no
idea.
idea.
Yeah, no, not the.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I live in a red state, so about 50% of us give a fuck, and the other half don't really care.
Hell yeah.
So it's been interesting because Roy Cooper has been pretty active, especially like on social media, about pushing out information and like all of the conferences and stuff. I'm not really sure. They've talked about like rolling back some of the closures again, right? Because they've been doing it in phases out here. Like phase 1 is only like essential stores stay open, and then phase 2 is like minimum capacity at like restaurants and shit, and then like phase 3 is like gyms and other like social outlets. So what's interesting to me is that a lot of the data is showing that COVID cases are rising in like private parties, right? So like people having gatherings and like small get-togethers at their houses where nobody's wearing a mask. Like people at the gym are not contracting COVID by like outrageous numbers. And I think what's really fucked up about a lot of these closures, while necessary, there doesn't really seem to be a lot of sense in the way that they're being applied, especially when it comes to small businesses. Like don't tell me about closures for a second time unless you have a plan for the small business owners to fucking function once this is lifted again, because most of them aren't going to recover this time. They were able to like hold on by a fucking thread or their savings or, loans. This last time, But I have several friends and even a lot of small business owners that I know here in North Carolina that they've already told us like, hey, we're either going to have fundraisers to stay afloat for as long as we can, or hey, we're shutting our doors. And a couple people have already closed their doors permanently, sold off all their like gym equipment, and have shut down. And it's sad because not only are these places like staples in the community, like you have to understand, like especially for people that aren't, I want to say religious, but people that need that community aspect and people that rely on that, not only need that for like their well-being, and that's like sometimes the only social outlet a lot of people have outside of work.
Yeah.
Right, the gym or CrossFit or even daycares or like
anything.
yoga,
Anything where
whatever.
Humans can actually interact.
Right, any of those things. So yeah, dude, those businesses are the ones that are getting hit the hardest right now. Restaurants seem to be doing okay because they're still open. They can still do takeout. They can do delivery. Like they have fallback plans. But for gyms and a lot of the other small businesses in the area, they're already like, we're fucked. We don't know what we're gonna do.
So real quick, so this is what I pointed or noticed today, because eventually I just, let me just explain it, and then Ben, tell me if this makes any sense. So here, everything has gone back to only dining, either takeaway or outdoor seating, outdoor dining. Right now, the temperatures have slowly started to drop. We're getting into winter. So what most of these restaurants have done along the way, they've gotten very innovative with maximizing their sidewalk, curbside. Some has even closed down streets to allow for restaurants to put tables along the street, so they close off access. So they've gotten very good at maximizing that space. But what they're starting to do now that it's starting to get colder is they've got those big outdoor banquet tents that sometimes you see at weddings, receptions, things like that. And they're using them to cover that area. So my question is, how's that any different from dining inside?
Well, I guess it depends on the level of ventilation in the tent. So early on in this,
right? We just opened the doors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so early on in this, there's a bunch of colleges and universities were talking about back to school plans in person as opposed to online learning, and a bunch of them are talking basically about getting circus tents and setting up in the field. And the reason for that was because they could have the sides rolled up and they could space out the tables. And it's
like being deployed, right? You just roll the sides of the tent.
Yep. But the difference between being outside versus inside is twofold. First of all, you have this very large UV disinfectant thing called the sun, which is helpful. And also you're not reliant on, in some cases, 50 or 60-year-old HVAC systems, which are fucking garbage, to try and recirculate the air. So the level of HVAC that you need to actually do a decent job to try and take out, viruses and particulates, people can't afford that shit. The government can barely afford it in critical areas. So you can't expect schools to pay for that because they're too busy paying, $7 million to their football coach, because that seems like a good use of resources to me. But anyway,
he's a state employee. I mean, it's not his fault. He's good.
Sure. But see
what you said though about the HVAC, that's what the schools here have done. That's why the schools are able to stay open as long as they were already open when this takes place, if that makes sense. But go ahead.
Yeah. So look, outdoor dining can work if people are properly spread out and you're getting fresh air coming through, and the people who are moving through those safe bubbles, that they're fine tuning in terms of how far those vapor droplets can travel. If people do the right thing when they're moving between those safe bubbles, then theoretically it's safe. But like most things, they fall apart because of people. Because all it needs is for someone to dick nose it, and then they're walking through coughing on someone's face or food or whatever, and it just screws it up for everyone else.
All right, Kristina, you're in DC. You're probably going to one of those underground speakeasies after this, where there will be no doubt multiple politicians way within the quarantine or the little social distancing area. Can you please, what the hell's going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right in that politicians.
Let's stop right there. Anyway.
Done. Yeah. Right. That's my answer. politicians are not following their own lockdown restrictions, which is making it really difficult for everyone else
Yeah.
to follow them. So, I mean, I have a list of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 politicians. I mean, that doesn't seem like a lot, but these are like high profile folks.
They're all right here.
Yeah, what's wrong with California?
Gavin Newsom. What? I'm sorry.
Gavin Newsom, the San Jose mayor right down the street, all of them.
Right. San Francisco.
Nancy Pelosi, they can't have a fucking mask while their hair is getting washed.
Exactly. And so, and I really liked your point, Veronika, about businesses. It's not just the restaurants, and you mentioned the gyms. So, I actually don't have to go out a lot. I go to the store every now and then. I go work out. That's pretty much it.
Do leg tucks.
Yes, where I film attempted leg tucks. And then we do have like groups, like small friend gatherings, of like, I don't know, six people, 8 people, whatever. That's pretty much, otherwise I'm just home unless I go shopping, working out. But so the people who are really being hurt, I think unfairly, are those who need to be in person in order to make a living. So I love Barry's. I'm like a huge Barry's boot camp fan, even though they dropped the boot camp. But so in the last 2 weeks or so, it was sort of, a little heartbreaking, to see some of the trainers get dropped from the schedule. I don't know. I try not to be nosy. I'm a journalist, but I try not to be overly, nosy about people's situations. So I don't want to ask, but all the gyms shut down. There's no more indoor group classes. The gyms are still open. You can have a certain amount of people inside the gym, but all the gym classes are shut down, which seems very unfair to me because, boutique fitness places like Barry's, they spaced out, they took a lot of the precautions to space out everyone more than 6 feet away. They did all this stuff. They rely on people showing up to the gym mostly, or showing up to the studio to make money. And so some of my favorite instructors they're no longer on the schedule. I don't know, what they're going to do. What are they going to do? Their income's gone. DC is not a cheap place to live.
Right.
They might have to move in with parents or family. I mean, these are people in their 20s and 30s. I mean, they're just being wiped out. And I have a friend who works with Mayor Bowser. And actually, I'd wanted him to come work out with me before, but I was kicking myself like, damn it, if only I actually got him in the studio, would he have some sort of awareness, that.
Oh, to kind of relay to her that, hey, it's a lot safer than we're giving it credit for. Okay.
Right. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It seems a little bit arbitrary to sort of cancel group fitness classes, but not, when you're appropriately spaced out, and leave gyms open and leave, the farmers market has been open this whole time.
That's true. I was just in San Francisco this past weekend, and the main one that's right there, right by on the, I think it's like Pier 27 or whatever, that big one that's right there, that was open all day. The farmers are still going. So.
Essential. So I remember my shock when I ventured out after the first, whatever days to slow the spread. I went to a farmer's market and I was like, oh my God, there's people shopping together. And they're like, yeah, we never closed down because we're essential. But you have all these, I even took a picture. I'll send it, but there are all these people cramped together in lines, buying vegetables, and it just seems completely arbitrary. It's having huge consequences for people. And honestly,
this is a much deeper societal issue in America, in that people don't realize that being healthy isn't taking a pill, and they also don't realize that being mentally healthy is also heavily reliant on eating well and exercising. So, if the fact that gyms aren't classified as an essential service during this time is fucking bonkers to me.
Or bars. I mean, whiskey does great things. I'm dating.
I literally only didn't get on antidepressants years ago because I spoke to my doctor and said, "Fuck it, I'm not taking pills, but I'm going to go lift weights every day." and I showed him some peer-reviewed journals on it, and he said, okay, you've done your research, that's fine, don't take your pills, but I'm going to ring you every day, and if you haven't worked out, we're going to have a problem. So, but America is very much a land, and other first world countries are the same, that, hey, you feel sad, have a pill, or, go and talk to someone about it. Not, hey, what works for you? Well, I like riding a bicycle, or I like rock climbing, or whatever. There's so many things that are not being looked at from the broader health perspective. And if the general population is healthier, both mentally and physically, it means that they're more likely to recover if they catch COVID in the first place. So
I think you're right. I think our society is absolutely
unhealthy.
Well, we are unhealthy, but we're also, I think there's a ton of us that are very active. When you talk about some of the areas you're talking about, I think a lot of people are way more active than they were when we were growing up, in my opinion.
But I don't think so, right? Because if you look at like obesity rates in this country,
I think that's more geographic. I think that's more of a geographic thing. Because, like, for example, I go to when I go to visit my parents in Tennessee, they're in a very rural area. Most of those people have no access to gyms, or the closest store to them is an hour drive. So yes, they tend to be a lot more overweight than people closer to the cities, or those in the cities where, like, even here, I can go, there's like 15 different gyms on every fucking corner, or I got sidewalks and parks and all these things to go run and do all that stuff in. So I see where you're coming from, but I just feel like overall we're more conscious and aware of the fact that, exercise is good for me, I should probably do it, because we're fucking humans. We're designed to be moving and doing things with our bodies, not being, sitting down.
But it's something that should have been picked up on this pandemic. It should have been like, hey, people actually get out, go walk, go and, do push-ups and all those things that, the government should have been encouraging people to be more resilient and healthier.
Well, they're telling us the opposite. Stay inside, don't go anything.
Yeah, the air is poison.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's so funny that you say that, because when I go jogging, and I usually take the mask down when I'm jogging, because, like, I don't have very large airways. Like, I can't even breathe.
I cannot wear a mask
normally.
I don't know how you do that.
And so, I'm running along, and you see a person that's like, a quarter mile away, and you guys see each other, and if you don't put on the mask, they give you a dirty look, or they'll like run all the way around you, and I'm just
that's fine with me. I don't want to deal with that's fine.
Fairness, I do the same thing with my dogs, right? Like, I'll take my dogs hiking, I'll take them off leash, but as soon as I see a person, like, I'm gonna put them on leash, I'll step to the side, and then I'm taking the goddamn thing off, right? Like, something is a mask.
There's so much judgment around the mask, and like I had this what do you call it, like a gator, and it had little holes in it, and people were like avoiding me, and I'm like, oh god, can they see the little holes? Am I being an irresponsible person?
So did we just lose Kristina?
No, I'm here.
Okay, she's there.
She's here.
So I mean,
maybe they just think they're trying to rob them. I mean, you do look like a pretty shady character. They're probably just start knifing them.
She's
and steal
very
their
big
wallet.
too. She's like 7 feet tall, I think. But so there's one other thing. I forgot to send it because I brought it up just as we were getting ready to do this. But I mean, if you go to the CDC's website, their own website, they got their chart on, excess deaths associated with COVID-19 throughout 2020 up to this point. And if you just look at the chart, there's no significant spike or difference than any other year. There's some a little bit above, but for the most part, it's business as usual as people die in this country. And yet we're in a fucking lockdown with 1 billion people worldwide, and there's no end in sight. I could have swore with Biden getting elected, we could have been fucking back to normal by now. I thought Trump was the problem. What's going on?
In all fairness, Trump was going to have a vaccine before the election, so
technically it was.
Technically,
we're going to see it. We're going to see it before the election. We're going to see it before.
Hey, all I know is 327,000 vaccine doses came to the state of California, and we may be getting them before all.
327 ain't
That's it.
Shit.
Exactly. That's my point. So this is never going to end. That's never going to end. There's 40 million people in this state. We got 300,000.
So there was
I saw some reports the other day, though, that both of the major, the two major vaccine companies we spoke about in the last podcast,
Pfizer and Moderna,
the ramp up to them was what I expected back in March, that there's going to be pretty widespread distribution of the vaccine by April, May next year. They're talking 100 150 million doses kind of per month when they ramp up. So, you know, and back to my earlier point from last week about, you know, getting 50% or higher of that herd immunity.
Yeah.
You know, those 150 million doses, so 75 million actual, you know,
Right.
people getting the 2-part vaccination per month, that'll build up pretty quickly for the 330 million Americans.
But isn't everything else also pointing to the fact that this isn't going to be any different than the annual flu vaccine? Like this thing just changes, it shifts, it's become other things. It's not guaranteed just because we get this vaccine that we're never going to deal with this again.
There's not enough science there. I mean, there are some scaremongers out there talking about how it's changing and morphing and all the rest of it, but there hasn't been enough data yet to get worried about the fact that it could end up like influenza with 64 strains. So,
well, I mean, the COVID thing is not different. I mean, it's a SARS related respiratory illness. Like this has been going on. What does she got?
Okay, so to your point, this is statistics for.
Look at the size of that phone. Is that an iPad? Or do you just have small hands? Is that what it is?
Bigger and bigger. Actually, I do have weirdly small hands.
Look,
I didn't realize that.
Look at this. Look at yours.
Wait, is that this is a Pro 11 XX?
Oh no, I'm poor. I have that. I'm not a rich. I'm not part of the journalistic elite like you with the.
You're that person at the fucking concert with their iPad, like
yeah, man, I love it here. Fucking great.
Blocking the view.
Never actually watched the concert. Just watched it through his computer screen.
I just have small hands, I think. But oh no, okay. So this is CDC statistics.
Yeah.
Pediatric COVID deaths versus pediatric influenza deaths. So between the ages 0 and 4, there have been 45 COVID deaths, and then an average of 213 deaths from influenza. So the flu has killed 5 times more children between the ages of 0 to 4 than COVID.
Oh, I got a good one for you, Kristina, real quick.
But hang on, can I just jump in there real quick?
Wait,
Yeah.
Let me say this real quick, Ben, and then say it. So just so you know, in the state of California, not 1, but 2 people under the age of 18 have died from COVID.
So the only thing.
Wait, Ben, hold on. Ben wanted to get in.
Yeah, so those statistics is like comparing apples with aardvarks. So
I like aardvarks. I wonder what they taste like. You ever grilled an aardvark?
I'd probably say they taste like chicken. But
I knew Ben would have eaten an aardvark coming from.
But you know, so like I said, 64 strains of influenza. It's been in the world now for
Ever.
But that's
forever.
the point.
So,
isn't that the point? We don't
just
lock down and do all that shit because we know we're getting the next flu vaccine.
But we have a
virus.
vaccine
but they did. They did
it doesn't work.
in 1918. No, it does work. Otherwise, there would be a heck of a lot more deaths.
Okay, but look how many deaths are coming from this. It's on par with the regular flu virus. It's not 100 million people, but yet we're acting like it is.
But the point is that this is a novel virus. It never existed
doesn't
before.
Kill as we were told it would.
It did at the start.
It's 99.4%. You're going to live. You're going to be fine when you get it. 99.4%. You can do the numbers on your own. 274,000 deaths, 14 million cases.
I think the bigger issue, though, is that, like, you have people that are getting secondary and tertiary effects when they do catch it. And they're long-term effects, right? Because we don't really know a lot about why are you hitting yourself?
A fly. I just got attacked by a winged beast.
It was the same fly in Mike Pence's head.
That's it. He's just the kamikaze fly.
It's coming after me. All right, it's on to eggnog, so I'll be fine.
It's straight from the box. Straight to the head. Hey.
So our housemate Israel captained COVID 2 times.
Yeah.
He has a reduction in lung function. And
well, you know what was weird to me?
He's a 24-year-old stud. Like, he is a fit dude. And his lungs are now kind of fucked, and they don't know when or if that's going to recover. And that's not because he's out like, smashing
Right, but isn't
cones
that the point
behind the
though?
bike shed.
I do like, don't get me wrong, that's a very personal case and I get it, and that's a terrible thing for him to have to deal with, but at the end of the day, is that reflective of society as a whole? No.
But
So
they don't
So,
know. This is the thing. Like they just
We-
don't
we
have
do,
the data
though,
yet.
because not
And then-
everyone's having the exact same reactions as him.
And that's
so,
well, and I think that's the issue, right? So like I know several people that have caught COVID. Now my sister
Same.
currently has so my sister
Okay.
currently has it, and so she's recovering, she's doing better now, and she's okay, right? So
was
she's
she
a
able
fit,
to figure out
healthy-
where she?
Hi, Valerie, talking about you.
Right, they watch this
Valerie,
podcast, so
eggnog.
Valerie, you fucking idiot. So dumbass.
Idiot.
Idiot. So yeah,
Jesus.
so my younger sister caught it. She's very fit, in great health, and she thinks either she got it from her neighbor or something, or because she's been pretty like fairly isolated because they're in New York right now, so they live in Buffalo. Whereas
it's more like Canada.
it's basically so South Canada,
South Canada.
South Canada, New York suburb. But yeah, so she's not having a lot of secondary and tertiary effects yet. Whereas again, my roommate Israel is having some of those. My boyfriend who caught COVID at jump school or at Halo ended up having a
Shocker.
bunch
I was
of
about to say, okay.
lost his
300 people in airborne school. I can't imagine how
exactly-
they got it. Okay.
Yeah, so lost his sense of taste and smell for a while and had the
I feel you,
chills.
bro. I feel you. We went that way.
But then after that, he was fine, but he also does like powerlifting where he does it like semi-competitively, and
Mhm.
he had a ton of issues in the gym afterwards where he wasn't recovering nearly as quickly as he was before. And he's just now finally starting to get over the effects of that. And this is like 4 or 5 months later.
Yeah.
I have several relatives that have died from it. Like
Mhm.
it's the range of issues that people are having with this disease is what concerns me, right? Because like you're kind of rolling the dice when you catch COVID. You don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, there are like, triathlete or like marathon runners and like, athletes that are getting this and like not recovering or fucking dying. Like, and that's what's really surprising to me. It doesn't seem to have like a pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
why-
what's a concern to me.
But that's why I
And
come
my
back to
other issue.
hang
You
on,
go.
Ben, because I think you'll probably do good with this one. But that's why I come back to overall, because it's such a wide range, and whatever we are doing is not exactly preventing or doing anything special. Why are we continuing to do this with all the unknowns? Because it's not preventing any of that stuff from happening. This stuff's still going on. When there's nothing that really supports the fact that if we keep doing this stuff, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think people are pretty much tired of these blanket regulations. I mean, first,
That the politicians don't follow, as you said. But anyway, go ahead.
exactly.
But the thing is, if you look at the people catching it, they caught it from somewhere or someone. It's not like, oh, they just got it. You know what I mean? Like they're catching it from exposure from a person that had it.
It came from 5G. It texted straight to their phone, and then they
That's
were
it.
Came from Australia. Fucking
Wow.
Ben's
Australia's
patience
Australia's not even a
zero.
real country. We already know that. Australia's just
That's
a
it.
fake. Yeah,
Fucking
Bill
island full of
Gates-
everyone
prisoners.
from Australia is just an actor. We know this.
Bill
But-
Gates and George Soros planted the 5G coronavirus. You heard it here
But
first.
I would say one thing:
Not
lies, damn lies, and statistics. So I have a problem with statistics, and I'm always very
It can be
careful
manipulated,
about
yeah.
exactly. And so a really good example, getting off topic, but it's a great example of it. People will often talk about the number of school shootings per year, and that number fundamentally changes depending on what the source is coming from. And people will do things. For example, there is a kid who is deeply depressed and suicidal, and they get a gun from home and they go to school and they commit suicide on school grounds. That death, that suicide, gets counted as a school shooting.
Yeah.
So, and guess what? A lot of the school shootings that appear in those statistics are from suicides. Because guess what? Teenagers are massively hormonal. They're easily depressed, particularly now because they're addicted to, phones and Twitter and Insta, Facebook and shit. not like me, I'm an old man. I just like, paper and see, look, paper notebook. It's lovely. So statistics are easily remodeled depending on why you want them remodeled. And unfortunately, this virus has become a very political issue, and it's divided on partisan lines, which is fucking bonkers to me. It should have been
it shouldn't be. Everything will always be political, Ben.
It should come together as people are dying and people are going broke and people are going bankrupt and stuff. We should try and help our brothers and sisters in this country.
Look, even 9/11 here in America, it lasted about 2 months before it went
True.
right back. What I mean?
But I guess
Nailed
my cautionary tale to your talking about the statistics of the death rate of this virus versus influenza is on a couple of levels. It's much easier to accurately detect, hey, you had a strain of influenza, whereas the testing even now is somewhat hit and miss depending on which system you're using, which lab you're using, and all the rest of it. I mean, it started off with someone was going to jam a rod that long down your nose, and now when I had my one encounter, they kind of used a Q-tip and rubbed it around a little bit. Yeah. So the testing is changing as the science evolves. Yeah. And I've been saying this for months now. We're not going to get an accurate understanding of who got COVID, who died from COVID, who has after effects of COVID for probably 3 to 5 years, because they're going to need to go through and do widespread studies with people who are willing across a broad geographic and demographic range to figure out, does it affect certain races, ages, people with diabetes, people with heart disease, whatever, more than other people. So trying to get an answer now is really difficult, but everyone wants it because everyone's used to the 24-hour news cycle. Everyone's used to this guy said so, that's a fact. Whereas that's not how things work. Proper science takes time. And the fact is,
but I think it also goes back to what Kristina's saying. And Kristina, hop in here. It's just the fact that
people don't have the time. I mean, if you the people who are dying of speaking of politicization, there's this sense that selfish people who don't want to wear the mask are spreading COVID. That's not necessarily true. A lot of people.
I know it is.
Who are getting
people who aren't wearing a mask are spreading it. That's a fact.
No. Of course, that is not my point. My point is the spread has been happening at meat processing factories. It's not that people are selfish and I don't want to wear a mask. It's that, first of all, masks are not even 100% effective. I looked at all the different masks, and we can talk about that later. But a lot of people, healthcare workers, grocery store workers, people who are deemed essential workers, people who have to get on the subway every single day, they're the ones who are getting and dying of COVID. So there's this, I think the discussion around the spread of COVID is too much on, you had Michael Moore today, he was saying, MAGA nation is going to die, and you're showing us how you're.
I'm just surprised that dude's still alive.
Yeah, me too.
Jesus Christ.
Aren't we all
parody? But anyway, so it's and then as far as the 5G, so I heard that crazy theory from my African American clerk at Whole Foods, right? I was like, aren't you worried about COVID? He was wearing this turban. It was like a magic turban. It wasn't like a religious turban.
The magic.
Was there a foil hat underneath it?
Was he Jafar? Or was that who it was?
So it's kind of like there's this sense of you are selfish, you don't wear the mask, and there's too much focus on wearing the mask, and it's become this symbol, this political symbol. But it's really, I think
it's also commodified because everyone sells one now. But go ahead.
Yes. Random point.
I'm just throwing it out there.
It's true though.
Sorry, was that a sales pitch, Eric? Are you selling? Yeah. There might be bourbon.
Yeah, there will be. It's going to be my face right there as a mask. There it is.
Are you dropping some news?
There will be COVID.
There will be masks.
This is turning into there will be COVID, but so back to the having time. I think the virus has really I mean, there's just, it sort of exposed the schism between people who have the time and people who don't. I mean, people are losing their businesses, their, there are suicides, because people are isolated. And so it's really kind of shown the difference between, I mean, I'm lucky I get to work at home. I don't have to venture out.
Oh, I'm essential. I have to go to the office to do everything virtually. Anyway, whatever.
There's just not, it's much more than like wearing the mask. I think we need rapid testing. We need rapid and widespread testing.
Check this out, Kristina. I want you to hear this real quick, and then Veronika, check this out. So I looked this up because Ben said something, but so everyone knows who Joe Rogan is, right?
Never heard of her.
Yeah, never heard of her. So him and Dave Chappelle were supposed to do this big tour, like back in April, and then everything had to get postponed and canceled because of
I was trying to get tickets to that.
Right, dude, sold 36,000 tickets in like 5 minutes. They said. Anyway,
I know.
So they just announced they're doing 5 nights, right, in December, coming up, December 8th. It is a, quote, socially distanced, reserved seating event. Masks are required at all times. Mandatory rapid COVID-19 antigen testing performed on site prior to entry. This is to go to a fucking comedy show. Let's be real. They're going to.
I'm not gonna lie to you. To see Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan live,
I would love to go to that, but at the end of the day, it goes right into what Kristina just said. Like,
you can't tell me. Look. That's not that big of a fucking deal. Do you have any idea what they charge for that shit before COVID?
Well, I mean, do you know how much those tickets are going to be anyway? It's like $200 to see Rogan by himself. That's fucking easily $500 to $700 for those two
But
together.
that's what I'm saying. Like the exorbitant.
Where do these people get the money to do it? They don't have a fucking job to buy the tickets. Anyway,
Stimulus checks. Woo!
Yeah.
Number 2, baby.
Bring it. I'm ready for number 2. I got guns to buy. Anyway, go ahead, Veronika.
But backing up, this is kind of the point of America's failed economic policy, that trickle-down economics doesn't work. That's my.
Let's not get into economics right now. We'll be here all night.
He's right though.
Stop. No, we're not doing Reaganomics. Not tonight. Next week maybe. Veronika, please get us out of here because we're getting up at it, and I got steak to make, and I'm almost out of eggnog. So
I'd like to end this on like a positive note. I would like to say, of all of the times to be alive when this happens, right? I'm sure the future is going to be better. But like thinking from here back to the flu of 1918, the fact that we have technology to bring us together, to keep us entertained, to allow us to have, I had a Zoom birthday party with my sister, and like our entire extended family was on it. And I got to have a Zoom brunch with my grandmother for her birthday. Like the fact that I still, even though this thing is happening and they're on the other side of the country, they live in Southern California and I live in North Carolina, that I still got to see them is to me a blessing. Yeah. So, at least we have that. And I don't take that with a grain of salt, right? Because I feel like a lot of people are focusing on a lot of negatives that are happening right now. And there's a lot of bad shit going on, right? But at least we're at a time where we can still connect. We can have these podcasts. We can have these banter sessions. You have the ability to call your family on anywhere in the world and, get a hold of them. So, sure. I keep in touch with my best friend in Israel. I'm able to keep in touch with friends that I have that are deployed or, whatever through several mediums. And it's not even one, and they're fucking inexpensive. Instagram, Facebook, Zoom, they're free. So
to be fair,
other than the internet, be fair, right? Yeah. You've got like 17,000 streaming options right now. So
which is it's designed. Remember they were like, oh, cut the cord, never have to pay for cable again. And then all these streaming services popped up that when you add add it goes right back to even more than the cable bill. Right. So speaking of which, 2 weeks from now will be my birthday on a Thursday. So I don't know if we're gonna do this or not then, but either way, it'll be my birthday. But that would be a perfect example.
I will bake a cake here just to eat it for your birthday.
Yeah, fuck yeah. All right. So there you go. I feel like we'll be talking about this for a while, maybe even next week when we can mix in some Reaganomics with Ben, the Australian eye candy professor. So there's that. Thank you
I'm-
guys all again.
I'm just a truck driver at heart. That's all.
You look
And
like you're about to go chop
and
some wood.
sometimes lumberjack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was about to say, sharpen that axe, man. We need you to fell some trees around here.
I've got.
You
I've got a
in
nice axe.
all realness, he really does chop all of the wood for our fire pit in the back. So I'm not even gonna. He's not even a faker. Like he's a for real lumberjack.
I believe it. I mean,
I'm not doing that shit.
I feel like you would love to do that shit though.
He does love to do
I
that
do.
shit.
No,
It's
not him.
relaxing.
You. I don't see why you're not out there fucking
Me?
doing like 10 logs for time or some shit. I don't know.
Bro, I'm taking
No,
a nap or day
Do you
drinking.
remember like in the early CrossFit
Chopping wood
years?
is another form of meditation. If
I
you've
believe
never,
How do you
anything
think that he
physical.
does it?
Anything
Yeah.
physical makes you feel better, in my opinion.
but each
So-
log is its
wait.
own little puzzle.
So real quick fact about Ben before we leave, so that the audience can get
Oh,
to know
wow.
him a little bit better, so that the audience can get to know him a little bit better.
Puzzles.
His Zen moment, his like, while fucking Eric is polishing off that bottle.
Chug.
I love it.
All gone.
So Ben has a bow and arrow, like he's got this
Compound bow?
fucking compound bow.
Yeah, there you go.
And a target that he sets up in the backyard.
That's a workout,
and-
I hear.
Yeah, well, so he goes out there and like that's his like meditation. So I'll just go into the back and I'll just shoot, doof, doof, doof. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Oh, okay, he's shooting at my dogs. He's running around the back,
Hey,
and he's just
whatever,
between-
whatever you hit. You
in
gotta
between the
clean it.
moving
Put it on
targets.
the
Yeah,
grill.
he's hitting the stationary target. So it's pretty.
We all
cool.
know I love your dogs more than you, Veronica.
That's the only reason you're here. I know this.
True, accurate. Yep.
All right, let's get the hell out of here. Remember, you may not think like us, but you probably think like one of us. There will be banter, and there will be us again next week. Thanks for coming. Follow us all wherever we're at.